Hello, Christian, and welcome to my podcast, Off the Rails with me, Claire. This is episode 18, and I'm so excited to have you here today and dive into everything that is Standout Socks. So welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning to you too.
Okay, so just for everybody listening, this is a podcast I've been waiting to do for a little while, and I'm so grateful that you've agreed to do this with me. I love your story. I love everything that you stand for and that you're making a bit of a change and a bit of a wave in the industry and what is important to you. So that's what I want to kind of dive into today. Your product is socks, standout socks. We'll find out why that wording means so much, to stand out. Yeah. You're doing a lot for diversity, and again, we'll dive into why you're doing that and inclusion. Because it's something that's very close to you. So I first found you on LinkedIn, as I was saying before we just started recording, through a mutual friend that kind of navigated me somehow to your page. I started to see, what your brand was all about. You're one of 3 co-founders, and you've also appeared on Dragon's Den, which is something that I don't get to say and be in front of people that have that amazing opportunity. So
you're making me sound famous.
I like it. It's good. You've got to talk yourself up, and it's not even that. You're doing something absolutely amazing. I was incredibly, taken aback when you were like, "Yes, I'm going to do it." I was like, this is amazing. So before I waffle on too much, I've given a bit of an intro of, you're a brand that produces socks. You're about diversity and inclusion. You've been on Dragon's Den. You have a business that is, in a good place, I would say. But let's find out a little bit more. So will you take me back a little bit to what the story is behind Standout Socks and why you launched the brand? So what's the foundation and why does it mean so much to you?
So I have a little brother who has Down syndrome, and a frustration for me, him, us as a family was that he could never get a job, and the jobs he did get were either for a shorter period of time, and there was no kind of stability there for Ross. And I mean, working's important, as in, meeting people, talking to people, feeling valued somewhere. So COVID happened to everybody.
We all remember that one.
And a lot of things changed personally for me. And Ross had to live with my mum and dad, which is enough to drive anybody insane. I love them dearly. But 14 months with my mum and dad, so when we all bubbled after people started getting inoculated or jabbed, or however you want to put it, I was like, when I was working as events as a project manager, there was no events happening anywhere in the world. So I was furloughed for 14 months pretty much. And we started buying and selling vintage clothes, me and Natalie, my other half, who's the other co-founder, along with Ross. And I was just like, why don't you bring our kid in? He's stuck in the house. Yeah, bring him in. And we'll start, it can help me pack some clothes. So he came in, and to be honest, in that 14-month period, it took a real dent on his charisma. He's quite a character, Ross. And his confidence had been, sitting in a room all day on your own. My mum and dad would still have to go to work. So he'd be in the house all day on his Todd. On his own, sorry, I'm it's possible.
For anybody that's not northern, I will translate and we'll do our best with the captions after this. So Todd is on your own.
Todd is on your own, yeah. So being on your own, it can, it's not great. So we'd see a real change in him, and then once he came into work and was around me, Nat, my mum and dad, we've seen a massive change in him, a real positive change. And I'd become a dad, so I became a dad in an unconventional way. I adopted in June. So COVID happened in April. We adopted in June. We lost Nat's dad in December. Ross started work in March, and then my boss, I was like really enjoying going in and working with Natalie and Ross and my mum and dad. And then my old boss was like, who's a fantastic guy and I loved where I work, was like, I need you to come in. I need you to do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off away. And I was like, this is the point of my life now where I've decided, what's going on. And obviously with the sort of stuff that had happened in everyone's life through that period, it was a decision. And we were like, right, what can we do? Because I ain't going back to work there. Ross is doing fantastic. We all love working together. What can we do? Let's set up a family business for us all to be involved in. And that's the nucleus of the story. The fact that Ross never had a job, getting him in to do some work, we find so massive positive in him and us. Don't get me wrong, working with Ross is fantastic. He doesn't just get stuff out of it. I get stuff out of it too. And that. So, yeah, that's the way it kind of started. That's where we were. So we launched a website with free designs. People liked it. To be honest, family and friends got behind it from the start, which really helped give us a base. And then just went from there, really. It's been mad. It's been a roller coaster, but a very enjoyable one.
Yeah, and it's funny how you don't always set out with this big strategy, and you speak to so many people. You have to have a strategy, you have to have a dream, you have to have because sometimes it drives me nuts. You have to have manifested it first X amount of time, and it's like sometimes the best things come of, okay, we're in a position where something isn't working. We need to, as in, life is against us in a lot of ways, and that's definitely happens to, if not all of us at some point. Yeah. And there just tends to be, I think, like you've just explained, when you're in a sticky position, life just seems to keep throwing them hard balls at you, and you're like, okay, well, right, I either stay down or I get back up and I'm going to do something.
A massive change, a massive change. And you can always go back to a job. I could have always gone back to events. Events are back up and running. Natalie was a PA. She can always go back and do PA. It's not, we put ourselves in a position personally where we could, try this. And I've always wanted to work with Ross forever. Yeah. I wish we'd have done it younger, because I'm 41 and I'm, feeling the pace, and our Ross is 37 and he's great now. But if you'd have met him at 21, 22, 23, he was out. We were both, age is a thing, but we're fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But, going through our late 20s, early 30s, we were very laddie. We were good. But it takes them. It takes them times in your life for you to probably think what's important.
It does.
What's important here now. And important for me was spending more time with Ross, spending more time with Nat, spending more time with my daughter. How can we achieve this? And then from there, it was a roller coaster then. What are we going to do? Oh, how good can this be for Ross? How good this can be for everyone? Oh, we can spread awareness. Oh, we can do this. Oh, we can start employing people. It's just been like that from there.
Yeah, and that's it. It's like everything kind of takes a picture of, okay, what takes priority and where do we put that? And I think that's what's amazing about this story so far. So you launched socks. Tell me why socks? Of all the things you could do, why socks?
So the Down syndrome community as a whole uses socks to celebrate World Down Syndrome Day, which is the 21st of March every year. So generally, people would use odd socks. And wear odd socks to celebrate Down Syndrome Day, because so Down syndrome's created by the triplication of the 21st chromosome. So me and you have two, X and Y, and our kid has an extra one. My brother has an extra one. So that's why it's the 21st of March, the 21st chromosome, third month. So there's lots of tie-ins there. We do a lot of designs with 21 things on or 3 things on. Just to kind of get that out there of how it comes about, really. So under a microscope, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Chromosomes look like socks. So that's why socks are used to celebrate Down syndrome. And we were like, well, it's used one day a week, one day a year. We could do that, a lot of other days through the year. And then we can, hopefully spread awareness. And not just that, but the fact that Ross can't get a job, and after the age of 21 in this country, and not just this country, worldwide, people in Ross's position are just dropping off the end of a conveyor belt of the end of education and dropping into like day centre stuffs and gardening, volunteering, and that's great. Don't get me wrong, that is great. Ross loves it, in fact. But for me, there's nothing like going in and getting some working and getting some money.
Absolutely.
And feeling valued.
Feeling valued, exactly. It means everything, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that's how why we use socks. We've been we're standout socks, but we're standout. So if you look at any of our branding, we're just standout. So that we can do standout t-shirts, standout hoodies, standout this, standout that. And the big dream is in the future to once we've kind of nobody's done what we're doing. Like we're working with an HR company at the moment, and they're like, there's no blueprint for what you're trying to do. So we're obviously hitting a lot of hurdles and navigating a lot of stuff and working stuff out and what we need to do, health and safety, safeguarding. This will blow you away. There's no first aid course for people with so administer first aid to somebody with a disability. There's no separate first aid course.
It's mad, isn't it?
There's nothing like that. So Ross has, for example, Ross has a bigger tongue, or generally people with Down syndrome have a bigger tongue. So you would administer first aid to Ross completely different than you would administer it to. But there's nothing like this. There doesn't need to be anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but again, we're working all these things through so that when we get to a stage, the big dream for Standout is then to go to other families that have an idea and say, right, well, you can be Standout this, Standout that, and we will help you and show you, and as well as we employ as well. And it's about employment, what we do. The socks is the sock spreads awareness. That's why they're designed the way they are. The sock starts conversations. So someone will say, where'd you get your socks? And then you can enter into a conversation about Standout, inclusion, Down syndrome, our kid. So that's why the socks are designed the way they are. So there is thought behind that. But the socks gets people work. Yeah,
there's a bigger message to the whole thing, isn't there? It's socks. And I love the sentiment. I actually read it on the website, why the socks, because of the chromosome. I love that. I thought, wow, like everything has a meaning. And for you to, because it's just, it's socks. Like we all wear socks, nice, and you can they're a great print driver, they're a great color driver from a fashionability point of view, but actually it really means something. And that's what, like, when you read it, it's like, wow, there's thought behind every single process of what you're doing. It's not just, okay, we're going to do something, we've employed my brother, we can churn out socks and we can do something nice, whatever. But it's not. It's like that's what I loved and why I was so.
You'll see on our new branding.
It's lovely.
New branding is buy one, empower many, and there's 3 dots after it. So there's 3 dots after it because it's the 3rd month. We could have chose 2 dots, we could have chose 4 dots. We chose 3 dots just to, subliminally, if that's a word, enter the number 3. Well, why is the 3 dots? The logo's got a bit missing at the start of it. Oh, why is that like that? So there is thought behind a lot of we do that people wouldn't even consider that we actually put thought into, to be honest.
Yeah. And then just on, like you were mentioning, the design and the process and things like that. So who takes on that role within the business? Like, is that something that's outsourced? Is it something you think of? How does that look?
No, all of us. So we all do it. Even the staff will get involved. Ross is very keen on doing a hot dog sock at the moment. So, there will be a hot dog sock coming up because the boss has said. So we all just, and initially we were just, talking through ideas and just getting the socks up. Now we try and be a bit more, seasonal, using stuff that maybe businesses like bees, a lot of bees use businesses, stuff like that. We do work with corporate as well. So we do a lot of work with corporate, and they'll design their own. So we'll design it together. We'll train it. So for example, we work with Manchester United. Okay. Right. After 6 months of being open, I don't know how we managed it, but I sent the CEO of United a message on LinkedIn, and surprisingly he got back to me. So thank you, Richard Arnold. He was the CEO at the time.
Nice.
and we raised money for a charity which is positive about the Down syndrome, and we sold our socks in the mega store. But the sock had 20 worker bees joined, and then the 21st worker bee had a golden one in the middle of it to represent the free. So, you know, the designs, we'll come up with the ideas, and then we'll try and subliminally again, pop in that 21, pop in that 3. We don't do it with every sock, don't get me wrong, but we will try and pop them numbers in.
Yeah, it's just bringing back basically the starting point of why it all happened, and the meaning behind it. Yeah, which is it's important in a brand, because that's your DNA, isn't it? Literally it's your DNA in this case as well. So it's like it truly means something. I think that's when you've got a story behind a brand, that's what hooks people. And hence why I'm talking to you, because it hooked me. I was like, I need to find out more. This is so interesting and so different. I think when somebody dares to do something different, those are the sorts of people that I'm attracted to. It's like, right, you've broke the mold, you're breaking the mold, and you care about something, so that's why you're pushing through, because that's what's not easy. It's easy to do what everybody else is doing. It's easy to go back to a job. It's not easy to leave it. It's not easy to do all them things. And I really empower that.
Sorry, we could transition into a charity or a CIC tomorrow. Yeah, but it's important for us that we're a business, because there's no reason why Ross can't be involved in a business. There's no reason why our staff can't be involved in a business. You know, they all get paid. Nobody volunteers at Stand Out. We don't take donations. We're stood on our own feet. Yeah, and that's important. We raise money for charities, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But Stand Out on its own, we're on our 2 feet. And this is because if people don't donate, charities struggle. There was a company called Remploy or Rem or something like that years ago. It was subsidized at the government that used to employ people with disabilities. But then the government pulled the funding, pulled the rug from under the whole project. And they went into, you know, I don't know, administration, but they're not around anymore. I think they've got small pockets here and there, but they used to be a big thing. So what Stand Out's trying to do is be self-funded, stand on our own 2 feet and say, look, if nobody's going to give these guys a chance, we're going to give them all a chance. So we'll show you how to do it. Sorry, I'm getting on my high horse here now.
No, this is what's important. Yeah.
No, we'll show you how to do it. Yeah. And then I think I'm a big believer in people, when they see it, they believe it. So that's why we'll show our kid making a brew. People think it's the most interesting, exciting thing in the world. Our kid's been making brew since the age of 21. You know what I mean? I'll be like, he makes a brew. I'm like, yeah.
But also it's kind of unmasking that kind of preconception of, okay, because you put a label on somebody, or because they have a certain learning disability, you have a preconception of how that person should be. But Ross is independent from what you're telling me. He's employed. He comes up with ideas. I watched your clip on Dragon's Den. You know, he was standing shoulder to shoulder with yourself and your partner. Like, you know, just you stood completely as a you know, three individual people coming up with your own rationale as to why you wanted this business to work. So I think that is the beauty of it, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we're all good at different things. Do you know what I mean? Like, we all bring something different to the table, like all the staff do. You know, I can't do the analytical, you know, searching stuff like that, but I'm quite good creatively. Our kid, you could drop our kid in any room in the world, and he would be the best person to go around chatting to people, telling them about Stand Out. You know,
which is what you need.
Yeah,
he's your front man.
Exactly. So we're all good and bad at different things, and that goes across the board with everybody. You know, Oliver, a young lad that works there, he's fantastic on like videos and TikTok and telling our story. Martha's fantastic at packing. Martha packs faster than anybody in here. Yeah, she can go through socks like there's no tomorrow. Mark likes the repetitive stuff that nobody else likes doing. Yeah, but Mark will stand there all day and just do the repetitive stuff and just sing and dance and have a laugh while he's doing that. And everyone brings something different to the table, but we cater that to the individual. We don't just have a box and say we need you to get in this box. We'll find some stuff that we like and we'll apply the right. What will you be good at? What do you think you'll like? Let's try this, let's try that. And I don't think businesses should do that just to employ people with disabilities. I think businesses should do that across the board, by the way.
Yeah.
But I get quite obviously animated and excited about it. But our kid is capable.
More than, yeah.
That's why we show what we show, because it's important to show what we show, because not only does it show what he's capable of, but it gives people kind of hope, because we get a lot of messages from people that have just had a baby with Down syndrome or a baby with a learning disability, and they're like, the future doesn't look so scary anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a parent of someone with Down syndrome. My kid's got Down syndrome. My brother's got Down syndrome. So I'm not talking here as a parent. I know these ups and downs. I appreciate that. But ultimately, it's ace.
Yeah, and that's it. It's kind of raising an awareness of, people's worries and woes. And a lot of people do, close the door and be like, oh God, I've got to deal with this myself. And there isn't a lot of support out there, and there isn't a lot of people talking openly about things. And that's then when it becomes a taboo, sorry. And that's when it becomes something that, oh, how do I talk about it? Am I using the right word? Am I being politically correct? And, and that's where people worry. And instead of saying, is that how I should say it? Is that how am I saying the right thing? People will avoid it completely. Conversation.
That's the culture. Yeah. That's the society we live in. Well, I always say, we will never get offended by anything anyone says. Stand out will never be offended. I'd rather you speak than say it the wrong way.
Yeah. And then, okay, all right, I said something or a terminology that is not liked or whatever, but you've told me now, and I know, so I can, continue to kind of understand things more, because without understanding and learning, we stand still, and who the hell wants to do that? Like, that's what's wrong with a lot of this world. So if you keep opening doors the way you are and making sure that, things are becoming, we're moving forward, and that's just it, because we don't a lot. And so I think it's because so many people are afraid of things that you navigate away from it, or you turn around and it's like, no, come on, you're just as capable, regardless of a learning disability or background or whatever it may be. So I love that.
The charities that work in the Down syndrome space do amazing work, but what we're trying to do is get to the mainstream. So if you stay in that kind of charitable space of Down syndrome, the people that have Down syndrome children or know somebody with Down syndrome will approach that charity. There's very rarely people that don't know anything about Down syndrome go into that charity and saying, I'd like to find out about Down syndrome, please. That just doesn't happen. So what we're trying to do is get to the mainstream to show people in the mainstream what Ross is capable of and what the staff are capable of. And that, I think that's important, and the difference we're trying to do. We're trying to not get away from the box, but we're trying to get out of the box and get to new groups of people that wouldn't necessarily, ask the questions that they need to ask. So that's why we do it in a way that's kind of quirky and funny, and we want everyone to be involved. We want everyone to see. We want to show the world and what's capable, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get to mainstream.
Yeah, I think the message, and again, why I was attracted to everything that the three of you are doing is it's fun.
Yeah,
yes, there's a serious message, but it's fun, and you can see the personality behind the brand and everything that you're doing. It's like, okay, what we're doing, it has a serious undertone. However, it doesn't need to be so structured. It's like, we're just going to have fun with this. We're going to enjoy the journey, and you can see it like in everything that you do. It's like the TikToks or whatever you do on Instagram. It's just, it's nice. It's refreshing, basically.
Yeah, we're just like, so I think sometimes you'll be asked, so you can't speak to Ross. Like, I'll be like, like people see us fight, we fight quite a bit. Do you know what I mean? Love being an headlock, giving me all that. And they're like, you do that with your brother? I'm like, yeah. Like, people just know.
Why not?
People, and I think people are like, you can't say that, you can't do that. You can, and I'm going to. So, and there's a lot of stuff. So I think online you'll see there's a lot of adolescents and children with Down syndrome online, whereas I think we plug that gap of all our staff are in the 30s, so we plug that older gap where people can see the future and kind of what what people are capable of once they get over the age of 30. And I think we kind of try and educate through that side of, because it's cute, he's lovely, he's you know, he's all them things, but he also burps and farts like any other man in the world. You know what I mean? Like, no, he picks his, do you know what I mean? And there's that kind of, you know, I think people, especially not across the board, but especially people with Down syndrome, people like to think of them as, you know, children forever.
Always in this childlike figure, yeah.
And he's certainly not. Let me tell you, he loves a beer more than anyone I know. Do you know what I mean? He's and to kind of get away from that and say, you know, don't speak down to him. Like, we'll go out for a meal, and the waitress will ask me, and I'm like, it's got a voice, mate. But I try not to do it like, I don't want to demean anyone or put anyone down. As in, I'd rather just say, just speak to Ross. Is, you know, he knows what he wants to ask him. So, and that's good for Ross. Because then Ross,
of course it is, like, because like you were saying about, you know, confidence diminishing like through COVID and everything. That's what does happen when you don't interact with somebody. And I'm talking to you, I'm talking to Ross potentially, but I'm looking at you. It's like, well, what are you doing to his confidence if you're not going to engage, you know, in a certain way? And I think again, it's just people having the confidence to be afraid, be okay with making a mistake. Oh shit, I didn't say the right thing to him, or I didn't say that, you know, but you know, I know now, so
nobody out there is the, you know, can tell anybody else how to act and behave. We're not telling everyone, we don't think we've got the right way or wrong way. We're just trying it our way. And if that works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But
if it sticks, great. If it doesn't, try something else. That's life, isn't it? So tell me, I'm desperate to know, why did you go on Dragon's Den? What made you even like think about it or, you know, apply for it? How did it come around?
So Ross is a big fan of Stephen Bartlett. He calls him Stephen Bartlett, but he's a big fan of Stephen Bartlett. That's kind of one. Two was to reach the mainstream. We knew that we needed to get, you know, Ross was the first person with Down syndrome on any of the Shark Tanks, Dragon's Dens, any of that. Ross was then the first person to get investment off any of them sort of programs. It was season 21. I don't know why they didn't put us on the third episode, but it was season 21. We were the first ones on that season. So it was like meant to be, sort of thing. We obviously knew. So people say a lot of things. When you work with the BBC or you work with investors, then we become credible because people know we're doing what we're saying. So, for example, when we work with big corporate brands like United, Hilton, etc., then they're not going to work with us if we've not been checked and we're not doing what we say we're doing. Yeah. So when you work with the BBC, we went through vetting for like 2 or 3 months. It was a long time, and then even after the Den, we went through vetting from Peter and Stephen's teams. So. And it, you know, it's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
watch some I've grew up watching it. Nats grew up watching it. Our kid loves Stephen Bartlett. It was, you know, why not? We ended up in the Den. We filmed in June. It was boiling. I had the biggest sweat patches you've ever seen in a yellow t-shirt on, which didn't look great. So. That morning it broke about Gary Neville being on, and me and our kid are massive United fans. And my dad rung us on the car there, and he was like, "Gary Neville's the Dragon," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" And then we pulled up and we hid in the car park because you're not allowed to be. We got there early, obviously. Yeah, I'm ex-military, so we were there like half an hour early, sat in the car,
just in case.
So we're riding and watching them all come in, and then we walked in, and I went, "Is everyone here?" She went, "Yeah, all 6 of them are here." And at that stage, it had not broke properly, so they didn't know what to do. So I'm like, Gary Neville's here. So we did the Den, and then he weren't there. Which not that I was gutted or not gutted about, but then he came down after it. I've got to say, he's one of the nicest blokes I've ever met in my life. Really good with our kid, taller than you would ever imagine.
Is he? I'm obsessed with watching him and Roy Keane on them. You know, them clips where they're just like him, Roy Keane, and Ian Wright, and they just like completely
Yeah, they're ace. So,
just savage with each other. It's hilarious.
no, they're really good. They've got a really good connection and a really good kind of camaraderie there.
Yeah.
But he's a really nice guy.
Nice.
Like him. So Peter and Stephen came down afterwards. Come and say congratulations, shake our hands, etc. And then Stephen was like, "I've got a surprise for you," and then pulled the door open, and Gary Winever was there, so that was ace. And then Sarah came down and brought us some brownies. That lady could cook, let me tell you.
Nice.
So yeah, and do you know what? It was scary. It was scary. It was, our kid wasn't bothered about it at all. I remember stood outside the lift. And we stood there what seemed like ages. So you stand outside the lift and you wait, and then you can hear them all come in. Yeah. And then they pull the they can't see what it is until they're all sat down.
Okay. Oh, right. So it's like in darkness or something.
Yeah. No, they hide it. I think they put a shield in front of it. And then they pull the shield away, and we stood outside the door. Must have been there for like 10 minutes. And there was a lovely lady that works for the BBC that does like the mental health stuff to make sure you're okay, which is great.
Yeah.
She stood at the side of us off camera, and she's like, and I'm like, is it going to be any longer? Just like, and our kids just like, chill out. You know what I mean? Like, what you get yourself all excited for? But then you hear their reaction. And when we went in, to be honest, we know Peter Jones had a sock company, so we discounted him completely.
Yeah.
And he gave us a real hard time in there. Like, we were in there for 2 hours. 2 hours we were in there, not
pitching.
So you go in, you do your pitch. That's like 4 minutes, and then for your other hour and 56 minutes, you grilled. And to be fair, right? To be fair to them, they grilled us as a business, which they edited out, which is quite frustrating, really, because we want to be seen as a business. It's important for us to be seen as a business, and it was kind of an or card. We thought, do you know what I mean? Like, little business here. Do you know what I mean? But they grilled us as a business for 2 hours, and it was. I won't give too much away, but it was filmed and edited different than it happened.
Yeah.
So, but ultimately, it was fantastic. The day itself was fantastic. The team that run it are all lovely. Looked after us really well. Really good with our kid. And apart from it being really hot.
And the yellow t-shirt never making an appearance again.
Yeah, no. Apart from that, it was great.
Amazing. So you got funding from both and like investment. Investment. Get that right, Claire. Investment from Stephen Bartlett and
Peter Jones.
Peter Jones. Yeah. So both. That was brilliant because I watched that, and it's like, I know that watching it, I was like, oh, are they going to get it? Are they going to get it? And then it was like, okay, both want to go in for it. So yeah, you don't often get that with there's two investors that
we got four offers.
Right.
Yeah. So Tuka and Sarah did it as well. Because Ross, as soon as he went in, he said, I don't know whether you've watched it, but he said to Stephen, "You're my favourite." Not that we'd not spoken about that before we went in. But our kid obviously is a big fan of Stephen, so we let him know he was his favourite. And then we got 4 offers. The only person that didn't was Deborah, but again, it was filmed differently. So if you watch it on TV, Deborah went out first, but that's not how it happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So Stephen went in straight away, and then Deborah said, "You've got the dragon you want and need. There's no reason for me to be in."
Yeah.
And then Tuka for about 45 minutes was like, "We should all do this. We should all do this." But she stuck to her guns, to be fair. But again, she treated us as a business. She didn't do which is important for us. I'd rather her say no because she's not into the business than think, "Oh, here you go." Do you know what I mean? Because that's not
a nice thing to do. It's
There's some people are like, "I can't believe she didn't." And I'm like, I'm glad she didn't.
Yeah,
it gives us credibility.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I think I know what you're saying, like about the pitching with the business side of it, because I often watch it and you see some people that are like, that's where they get totally muddled up, and it's like, yeah, I sell it for this and it costs me this, and it's kind of the realization they've been doing it for years and they're like, shit, yeah, I'm spending 250 on a product and I'm selling it for
150.
$3. And you're like, okay, and then your marketing and then your product, and you're like, so it's really, yeah, but there's so much more that, like you said, than that 4-minute pitch, like all of the work that goes into a business, making sure you're profitable and you can pay your staff and you can look towards like future. And because with a tangible product like that, you have to make it and have the stock before you sell it. So It's all from you. It has to sit there, and it's just like the hope of God that it does sell. And there is that investment from yourselves that has to take place. Like when you are doing an actual product, and you have to have the stock there. So that, a lot of people do. They think it just appears, and then they want the product yesterday. And it's like, well, production time and all of this. Like there is a lot to a business that, regardless of what you're producing, the same procedure has to go into
Cash
it.
Flow, stock, and again, we pay VAT, we pay tax, again, and that's really important for us to pay these things. We donate to charity. We've raised over £15,000 for charity so far. And again, there's no reason why just because Ross has got Down syndrome that we can't raise money for charity.
Be able to do those things,
So we're run like a business. We're a business. All the staff get paid. There's no donations. There's no, and I think that's what we struggle to get across. And you'll get people, and it can get frustrating when people are like, "I'll come and do some work for you pro bono," because you're a charity, and I'm like, "What makes you think that we're a charity?" And this is the problem.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, when people see Ross or the staff, their first instinct is charity. Yeah. And that's one of the things we're trying to change. There's no reason.
That mentality that needs to switch, isn't it? Like, why, and if you think we are a charity, ask and clarify it rather than just an assumption. It's like, okay, we'll find out what we are and why we do what we do.
It's hard not to get frustrated. But then again, like I said, we're doing stuff that's never really been done before. There's a lot of CICs and charities doing some fabulous stuff out there. And there's times where, especially before the den, where we've been struggling with cash flow, where, and me and Natalie were working 2 and 3 other jobs before the den because we couldn't take any. So we all worked on standing out for 2 years before anyone took any wages. Do you know what I mean? There's people don't see that side of it. And as much as we're doing it, don't get me wrong, we're doing great things. But there has been times where I've just been like, what if we just change this into a charity and people can, donate for some socks or
tempting, isn't it? But you still got that core reason why you did it. And it is, and those are the realities of business that, you see all this stuff on social media and it's like, oh, we're doing 6 figures and we're doing this and we're doing that. And it happened overnight. And you're like, come on, stop spreading these vicious rumors, because that's not the reality. I come from a family that was self-employed, and there's times where it's really, really, really hard. I've just launched my own business and it's scary as hell. The amount of people that expect you to do something for free, and you're like, time is money, and that's what's annoying too.
Just being honest, that's because we say, so like Roy Keane says, no is a sentence. So we say, so we have to say no to a lot of stuff because still at the moment, time is our currency. So a lot of people will get in touch. Can you come and do some speaking here? Can we pop in? A lot of people want to pop in, and so we've had a corporate customer that's come in, popped in for 2.5 hours before for a whole shift. And
brings a whole new meaning to popping in, doesn't it?
And you just can't read the social clues if we're trying to do work here. So we've kind of adjusted our unit so that popping in can't happen anymore. But so again, you kind of learn as you're going along. Can you come and speak here? Can you do this? Can you donate this? Can you do? Look, if we don't sell socks and make money, we can't pay staff. And that's what we're about. If we don't sell socks, and open up more opportunities for people into employment, because at the start we were giving donations to charities instead of employment, we were giving donations. So we give donations to Scope, we give donations to Positive About Down Syndrome, and that's what we were doing. Yeah, we weren't getting paid through that period. Okay, but with that, that's what we'd said at the start. So it was like, that's what we said, that's what we do. But then we were like, Ross came on board and we were like, right, okay, instead of giving to charity, we can make a direct, thing happen. So rather than give it to somebody else to then help with employment, we can just employ.
Yeah, exactly. You know exactly where it's going, don't you? There's not a percentage of it, or
No. So when people buy our standout, that's going to help us employ. And we do the awareness thing because, listen, we love the awareness thing. We love showing what's capable, because nobody thought Ross was capable of anything for 12 years, and we have fun with it. And we have fun. Like, we did a campaign through, was it October or March? It might have been 21 days up in March of, we did a campaign. And again, but these are all free things that when I say free things, we haven't got the finances to go and get a fancy video, or go and pay a graphic designer, or go and pay this person, that person yet. Okay. But as that becomes part of, we're able to that, we'll be able to spend more awareness of inclusion, Down syndrome. But at the moment we're still shoestring.
It's a process. Yeah, it's a process. And even though in the moment it's like, oh God, this, and you have them moments where you're like, can we keep doing it? And it takes a lot to keep getting up every day and fighting against it. But like we said at the start, it's easier to go back into something that's comfortable as opposed to keep fighting for what you believe in. Yeah. And that's why there's fewer people doing what you're doing and more people doing the corporate, this is easy. I get my salary every month. Great. Do I enjoy it? No, but And
in regards to the business, again, just going back to the business, we don't, we're just doing it our way. We're not saying it's right. We're not saying it's wrong. We're doing it differently than anybody else that we know of. I'm not saying that there's no one else in anywhere else that's doing it as a business, because ultimately funding can stop. Ultimately subsidization can stop. Another government can get in, stop the money. And that's what happened to the company years ago. They just stopped the money. If it's hard times at the moment, so you're going to get less donations.
Exactly.
I try, again, it serves its purpose, but I don't want Standout to have any volunteers ever. Everybody that works an hour for Standout will get paid for the hour they work. And we get a lot of people wanting to volunteer, and maybe it might be something we do with work experience or something in the future, but because I can see the benefits in that for the person. But just the volunteering side of things, if we stay a profitable company, there's no reason why we should have volunteers. Why?
No, it's refreshing. And I think in any industry, but I think when you're selling products in the fashion realm, which is my background, I studied design years ago and I've had my whole career in buying up until recently. There was always that internship was the way they polished it. And the amount of times I worked for free, and regardless of your background, again, whether you have a learning disability or not, why should anybody be expected to work for free? How
I mean, again, people can have different opinions on it. I'm not saying my opinion's correct at all. At the end of the day, the volunteering serves a great purpose to get people out of the house, to give people an opportunity to work. Okay, to give some work experience. So I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying that our way is we won't do it.
No, I think it's brilliant.
And we will base our company on that. The fact that if you work here, you get paid. People will know when they see one of our employees that they're getting paid, that they're not, just here volunteering while we make profit. That's not. Don't get me wrong. We're a business. We'll run as a business. We'll look for investment. We'll look to grow the business as a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every staff member that works here will get paid for every hour they work. That's a promise.
And that's that. No, but I think it's important, and I think talking to you for this short amount of time, you have a very clear vision. You may not think that, but for me, receiving what you're telling me, you have a clear vision on certain parts of your business that you will not change, and that's one of them. It's like, this is us, this is who we are. And whether it's because sometimes environmental or whatever it may be, you kind of like, oh, maybe we just kind of lean into that a bit more. And it's easy to do. It's easy to kind of go back on what your core values are, but if you stick to it, I think it gives you, for anybody looking from the outside in, it just makes you more, like you say, more credible as a business. You're like, actually, they're doing what they say they're doing. Because there's so many bigger businesses that just talk a whole load of crap, and they say one thing, but out and out they're doing something completely different.
The greenwashing.
Absolutely, the whole greenwashing saga. And yeah, it's all the big boys that are doing that. So it's nice and it's refreshing that, you say what you're doing, and it doesn't happen often enough. But last thing I want to ask you is, what's next? Like you've done, in my opinion, a massive amount. Like you've got your business, you're expanding somewhat with employing more and more people. You have been on Dragon's Den. You've got, like you say, the couple of corporate gigs as well. Is there, like, in your head, from what you can tell me, you may have things like that you don't want to make public, but is there like, okay, this is what we're going after, that's kind of the next thing for us? Or are you more, let's wing it, let's just see? Well,
I'm very wingy. So this is why we work, because me and Natalie are yin and yang as well. So Natalie's very structured, and I'm like, I can work in chaos. Right. Yeah, I like absolute chaos around me. Whereas Natalie like structure. We need to do this, we need to do that. But I'm the dreamer in all of this. Sometimes when our kid doesn't want to come into work, I'm like, because Rossi's like, sometimes you don't want to go into work, I don't go into work, and I'm like, Ross, you've got a job, mate, you've got to go into work. People are relying on you. So I'm the kind of, for me, it's frustrating me for so many years, and I'm like, we're going to employ and employ and employ. And then we're going to, how we get to that and how we do that, I don't know. And we're going to show and show and show. Then if everyone follows, wouldn't that be a fantastic thing? If more businesses like Stand Out pop up as a business, wouldn't that be a fantastic thing? Yeah. If we can, I'm talking 5-10 years down the line, use funding from Stand Out and knowledge from Stand Out, our kids at the window. Come and say hello.
Is he like, come on now?
He has his dinner at 12 o'clock, so he's finished his TikTok live.
Oh, he's on time.
Come and say hello. You run it for a while then, mate, weren't you?
Okay.
Hi, I'm Claire. Hi, Ross.
Yeah, fine.
I've just we've been talking about you, let's say it that way, but I'm trying to understand exactly what Standout Socks is all about, and I'm more than impressed.
Bad things about you. Here's the other one as well. Come and say hello.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry. Hi. Hi. So nice to meet you. We've been chatting about all the things. I'm like, I feel like a little girl fan over here.
Oh well, my ears were burning, so I hope he's not been saying it.
All good news.
Good. Well, we'll leave you to it. We've just come off a live, so did Christian say Ross gets his lunch at 12 o'clock?
Yeah, he's
Ross has his lunch at 12, so you got 2 minutes.
So or you might see a grumpy side of him. So
hungry person. Nobody wants a hungry person.
What?
Not sure.
You didn't want to interrupt, Claire.
Claire, you go.
What's on the menu for lunch, Ross?
Eating a bit of love.
Seeing a bit of love.
Right,
what's on the menu for lunch?
What are you having for your dinner?
Is it meals?
We're both on gym kitchen meals at the moment, trying to use some timber, aren't we?
Yeah.
Timber's weight for any people.
Love it.
Yeah, aren't we?
Yeah, good. All the time, so yeah.
You look great,
protein smashing.
Yeah.
You look fantastic. Do you want to join in? You can join in if you want.
Yeah, fine, see.
Right, we'll make your decision.
Come and make your lunch. What are you doing? You staying on that, or are you making your lunch?
Yeah, going now. Okay.
Okay, it's 12 o'clock. I thought you might
right. Enjoy your lunch.
Nothing gets in the way of dinner.
Don't blame him.
See you a bit.
Bye.
So again, he gets away with. So we were in. We went to see Peter Jones, and we were in his office. And he's got this big. I don't know whether it's oak, but this big table. We're all sat there, and I'd bought lattes for everyone. We're all sat having a latte, and take a mouthful. Peter Jones walks around the table and he goes, "All right, big lad." all over his nice table, coffee everywhere. I'm like, "Ross, you can't say that." And Peter Jones is like, "Love it. I absolutely love it. I've never been called that before in my life." I'm like, "All right, big lad." I'm like, "Ross, you can't say that." So yeah, he's
keeping it real. That's exactly what we need in this
I don't know
crazy
whether I
world
could
that
have
we
got
live
away
in.
with it, though. I don't know if I could, but we're about employment. So paid employment is our number one focus for Standout. If you ask Ross, his number one focus is moving to Tokyo. So he wants enough money to move to Tokyo. He's 40 in a couple of years. We're going to go to Tokyo for his 40th. If you ask Nat, she just wants everything to be in black and white and filed. That's all she wants in her life. But no, employment first, and then kind of paving the way of what's possible in a sense of running a company that 99% people would think is a charity as a business, and creating other pop-up businesses that we can help and show. And go, once one person's done it, then we can help other people do it.
Yeah.
But that's like 5-10 years away. That I think that's when probably Standout's got the infrastructure that us three don't need to be here.
Yeah.
And then we can go around and do the talking and the kind of going into businesses and helping them figure it out, help other families figure out what they're good at and what they can do. Maybe have Standout Germany, Europe, Germany, Australasia, America, popping up, so we can help people worldwide. When I say help people, everyone's entitled to a job. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's not, we need to go and help people. It's a business.
No, but you're opening the door. That's different. Like, not everybody opens the door, do they? It's just like conversations had. So yeah,
it's been hard. Don't get me wrong, Claire. It's been really difficult, and we've at times, me and Natalie have got a daughter who's is 7 now, but she's been with us since 4, so we've been navigating all that, dropping in and out of jobs just to keep Standout alive. Finding suppliers is difficult. Finding reliable suppliers, that's an even different world. But you know what? We've been accepted by the community, the public, with nothing but positivity. There's been when I say there's been no negativity, there's been zero negativity.
That's brilliant. Yeah. Because it can be nasty out there. It can be horrible. So I'm glad.
You get the odd comment on a TikTok live, but we have listen. We've got such a strong community behind us, and they just they disappear. You just don't see them quick enough. We've got a couple of moderators that sit on our lives and just kick people out. But we're employing again in October, so we're doing and again, the way we onboard will be completely different than every other company out there. So we're on board in October, and then seeing where we get to in December, and then it's kind of a free, because we're seasonal still, because we're socks. So we've tried other stuff, but ultimately we're a sock company. So we have to be careful, because it's about to give someone a job and then take it away. Especially someone with learning disability, because they need the structure. It's bad. So we only want to expand when we 75-80% that position is going to be good going forward.
Exactly.
Don't want to bring someone in for the Christmas rush and say, right, so we'll bring
because that disappointment hits differently, doesn't it? So you've got to, there's those considerations, like you're saying, that the average business wouldn't have to consider in the same way.
We our kid, like, his dinner at 12. He needs his dinner. He's not doing anything at 12 o'clock. He's having his dinner. Do you know what I mean?
And rightly so. Why not?
No, of course. But like,
I get what you mean. I understand.
You wait till half 12
to be there. Yeah.
And then when we have meetings and we change days, what is not a big thing for me and you, is like, no problem. I'll do it on a Wednesday. Don't worry about it. For our kids, sometimes it can be quite, but I don't work that day.
Yeah, it's disruptive, and it's trying to completely. It's those things that is another complexity to the business that you've got to consider, which again, people don't necessarily always think about, because you know, you
People
are
think we've been on
amazing.
Dragon's Den and we make loads of money, and that's all they
Yeah,
think. They don't
yeah,
understand the kind
exactly.
of consequences we have with every single thing we do.
Yeah,
And the kind of it's a full thought process. It's not, you know, we don't do anything on a whim. Everything's done because, again, we need to be stable. There needs to be a slow stability of building. Yeah, because I don't want the rug to be pulled. And when, you know, we've got a responsibility now as, you know, as directors, as a company, you know, we're starting to employ. And if we're not in a position, or we grow too quickly, and then you just let people down, and we're letting people down that, you know, rightly or wrongly, take it harder.
yeah, exactly.
You know, and we're offering a you know, and we pay over minimum wage. We don't just pay minimum wage. We pay over minimum wage, over like that, what other wage they have, that, you know, family wage or something like that. We pay.
Right.
So we're not just, so if I get sacked from a job, I can go apply for another job and another job until I get a job.
Yeah.
You know, we know because of Ross, if he loses a job at Standout, or the staff loses a job at Standout, chances of them getting another job is non-existent, or very slim, to say the least. So again, it's don't get me wrong, it's ace, but it is a burden. It's not just getting up and kind of, there's a lot of thought behind everything that you do. And yeah, I think it's amazing. I love what you do, hence why I'm here, and I've really enjoyed speaking and learning more, and love that I got to see the other two founders. Yeah, they popped in.
Which is
you were for dinner time, that's why.
Yeah, they're like, come on now, she said 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So I will call it there, but I have loved it. Like I have followed, like I said, where you're up to right now, and you've got an amazing thing going, and I wish you all the luck in the world. I think it's brilliant. And yeah, I just look forward to seeing what's next. I won't hound you as hard, but I'll definitely be watching from a distance.
No, listen, I've enjoyed it. So, you know, a couple of years down the line, if you want to jump on again, I'm sure I'd be up for it. And kind of give an update of where we are. But yeah, you know, we're just doers. I think that's
and that's what's so nice. And you're just such a normal guy. Like, you're just really down to earth, and I think that's what makes everything even nicer, and just like really cements your message. It's like, yeah, you know firsthand what this means to, you know, your brother and the wider community, and what it means to you as well. Like, you've not come in with the lap of luck through, okay, I've had X amount of savings and I just fancy doing this, it's nice to do. No, I had to leave a nice sound job, and I chose to do that. You know, and you've got a child to support your partner, and likewise the same reverse round for her. And, you know, I think that's what's nice to hear. And anybody starting a business or wanting to do something different, it's the reality of having to make sacrifices. And that's what I always, you know.
We were driving around in a 2-seater Spark car for 3 months. We used to have to do 2 trips. Seriously. Well, that's what we used to have to do.
And that's the reality, isn't it? Like, not everything's all shiny and.
But we believe in it. We believe in what we're doing.
And that's the difference. And then you really put like the fork in the ground, don't you? Because it's like, well, this is what matters to me, you know. So, but thank you so much. I've more than loved speaking to you, and I wish you all the best, and enjoy your lunch.
Oh, well done. In kitchen.
Thank
you
you
all the way, because looking dead chubby.
Thanks a lot.
See you later. Bye.